We are live. Welcome to Ring the Bell podcast number 30. I'm here with Nathan from Main Event Boxing Talk. We're going to be discussing Miller's failed drugs test, who AJ's going to be fighting next, and a little look forward at some of the fights coming up, including Browne versus Allen and Crawford versus Khan. How are you, Nathan?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, man, I'm good. It's been a while. I've been so busy. I finished my teaching course now. I'm going to be a teacher very soon. And yeah, life's good. No complaints. Going to get back on watching the boxing a lot more. Going to have more time at the weekends now. So that's a good thing. I thought we would start with the biggest news. Miller fails his drugs test.
It's pathetic, really, isn't it? For that fat burning thing.
Yeah. So I was reading a little bit about this substance, and I think he's probably been taking it his whole career because it helps endurance in a way that it doesn't make your heart speed up, but it makes you have longer workouts and longer sessions without feeling tired. So I think he's probably, as a big fat guy who weighs 315 pounds, I was always shocked that he didn't tank out in the last few rounds of a fight, and I think now we know why. I think
I mean, for me, I was always amazed how a man of his size could move the way he does. You know, it was always.
That's what I mean. Yeah, and in the 11th, 12th round as well. It's not just in the first round; it's the whole fight. I think it's a very bad look for him. I think he's going to be accused because this was his first VADA test, I think, and so he's going to be accused of just cheating when he's not being tested. So. WADA in 2013 actually issued an alert about the substance because it can increase your rate of risk of cancer as well. So it's a really dangerous thing to be taking.
Not a good idea.
No, it's a really stupid idea. So who's Joshua going to fight? Miller's out. He's not been given a license.
There's a few options, but there's Manuel Char's an option. There was Adam Kaunaki, there was Luis Ortiz, and there was who else was there? Joe Joyce put his name in the hat, and also so did Derek Chisora. David Hay actually did an interview about it.
Joyce and Chisora, possible but unlikely. Pulev, Kaunaki and Ortiz seem like the three ones that would be very likely. I think I would love to see him fight Ortiz because it's about a similar level fight to Miller, and we can finally shut up all those stupid American fans that think Ortiz is in the top 5 of the heavyweight division when he's never beaten anyone inside the top 10.
Ortiz is okay, but you know it'll be acceptable. Manuel Char's not really an acceptable choice.
Manuel Char would be accepted because he has a belt. I think that's the only reason it would work. But yeah, it's not a good fight. I think what's interesting about the Luis Ortiz fight is, you know, people accuse AJ of ducking him, but if he's willing to take him on short notice, he's clearly not that scared of him. You know. Luis Ortiz is just too slow for AJ. He might be a threat to some heavyweights, but he's too slow for Fury and AJ. That's just a fact.
You'd probably win a couple of early rounds, but then the later rounds, the longer the fight goes on, you'd wear out.
Yes, I think similar result to the Wilder fight, but I think AJ wouldn't be losing on points at the time of the stoppage. I think AJ would come back in the middle rounds and start to dominate the fight. I think it's the best fight out there at the moment. Ortiz it's arguably a better fight than Miller anyway. Some American fans will say it is. I say it's not. I don't really rate Ortiz very highly. I think his best win is Malik Scott. So I don't understand where all the love for Ortiz comes from. His best win is Gerald Washington or Malik Scott, and they're not. That's not great.
No, they're not bad wins, you know, but it's crazy, isn't it? Do you think that we're even having this conversation? I mean, another failed drugs test. It's all over again. Do you remember a couple of years ago when we had a lot of?
Yeah, that's the thing. Ortiz stepping in for someone who's failed a drug test is amusing because he's failed a load of drug tests himself. But I think it's the best fight out there. Sadly, I heard Parker put his name in for the rematch. I don't think anyone wants to see that.
No.
And obviously Tyson Fury's in a fight, Wilder's in a fight, Brazil's in a fight. Everyone's booked, everyone's taken up. So if they can get Ortiz, Pulev, or Kaunaki, that's a good last minute replacement, and it will keep the fight. It will keep the fight as what it should be. I think Manuel Charr, Chisora, or someone like that would weaken the fight. It wouldn't sell as well. I think they'd get some refunds on tickets. So yeah, it's an interesting one. Terrible place for AJ to be. I heard a bit of a conspiracy theory going around that Miller may have been paid to fail a drugs test to help freeze Anthony Joshua out of the heavyweight boxing division. Now, that's very conspiratorial, but with all the bullshit that's been going on behind the scenes, Dillian White went to meet with Al Heyman and then turned down the AJ fight. Then we see this stuff with Brazil and Wilder when really White should be getting that shot anyway. So there's a whole load of weird stuff going on in the heavyweight division, and it makes it cheaper, and this is the sort of stuff that puts people off boxing. So hopefully they get someone in who's clean and the fight goes ahead. Otherwise, it's just a bad look for boxing, really, especially the heavyweight division. Especially, you're taking a fat stripper when you don't even need to make weight. That's so dumb. I could understand in the lightweight division, in the bantamweight division. There's a load of divisions where you need to be light, but Jesus Christ, taking a fat stripper. I know he was taking it for the endurance, but there's probably other things he could have taken. Or stop eating so many fucking cheeseburgers and work out more.
Problem is, I bet you the majority of the top 20 fighters are on some sort of drug.
But they're not, though. No, they're not, though. AJ's clearly not, because he has VADA for every fight. Dillian White is clearly not, because he's been banned in the past and he doesn't want to spend another 2 years out of the sport. I think here's one of the big differences, my friend. The UK fighters don't cheat as much because they know they will get handed a 2-year ban from the British Board of Boxing Control. The American fighters know that they can sit out for 6 months and get another fight immediately as soon as their ban's finished, and they don't really even lose any money.
Crazy, really, isn't it?
A 6-month ban is not cutting it. If Miller just gets a 6-month ban, it's going to prove my point right again. Like, why would Miller care about 6 months when he's getting paid millions? It's not cutting it. So the 2-year bans, they really work. You see, Dillian White has VADA for every fight now. VADA are clearly catching people because look at Billy Joe Saunders, look at Miller. We're seeing VADA are actually quite good at what they do. So I would say not everyone is cheating, but too many are cheating, for sure. Too many. One is too many, but there's more than one, that's for certain.
Problem with it is, I mean, the people just don't care about the consequences. Do you think Jarrell Miller really cares? He knows he'll be back in 6 months.
Exactly. I think that's the big difference. I think AJ would be, if he gets caught cheating, right, the British public are so much harsher on cheaters than the American public. The American public don't care that Ortiz has failed 3 tests. They don't care that Povetkin has failed 2 or 3 tests. They don't care. And they don't care in the UFC either. They don't care that John Jones has failed every test he's ever taken and then goes out drink driving. They don't care. There's no governing body. Can you imagine if Billy Joe Saunders was caught drunk driving? The British Board of Boxing Control would never let him box again.
He'd get battered.
Yeah, exactly. And so the what you're saying is right. The consequences are out of skew, especially in America, where there's no governing body to hand down a uniform style of penalty for these fighters who are cheating. Um, Canelo, 6 months. Can you imagine if Anthony Joshua got popped with clenbuterol? It wouldn't
No,
be
he'd
six
get.
months, 2 years. It'd be straight
They'd
2 year
make him go
ban.
for that.
Yep, exactly. And so I think what we're seeing here is that the USA needs to have its own national body for dealing with this kind of thing, because the states don't talk to each other enough. The state commissions have all got different rules, and it's a bad look. It's a bad look for boxing. I hope Miller gets a 2 year ban, but I've never seen an American fighter get a 2 year ban.
He'll probably get, like I say, 6 months, and
Yep.
I mean, Cash Ali would probably get a year for biting someone, which isn't as bad as drugs.
Yeah, I mean, biting someone is bad. It's gross. It's rancid, but it's not going to kill someone. So I agree with you on that. When you're actively looking to boost your endurance, you could hurt someone badly in the last few rounds of a fight. So I completely agree with you on that. Cash Ali, for all his wrongdoing, he's going to get a longer ban than the Miller will, who's potentially trying to murder someone, especially at the heavyweight division. That's some scary shit. But
They need to
anyway,
make an example out of
they
out
they
of.
they, they should. They won't. He'll be fighting. He'll be mandatory for one of the belts in a year. He'll get his title shot. Sadly. Um, let's move on from that, because we've got no idea who he's going to fight and where it's going to go. But we will keep people posted on that. Let's talk about the Josh Taylor WBSS debacle. So have you seen that Ivan Biri? I can't even say his name, but have you seen that the fight is back on now?
What's actually happened then? Because I know that they sort of pulled out over money,
Yeah, so
lack
they
of money.
pulled out. Yeah, they pulled out, and it's Ivan Baranchik. Basically, there was just a load of mess around it. They didn't think that the WBSS had the money. They didn't think that the contract was tight, so they thought they could get out of it easily. But basically, World Boxing Super Series took his promoter to court, and it's all worked out that the fight is happening, and it's happening in Glasgow. Uh, Taylor's been funny about it. He's like, I don't really care where or when it happens, as long as it happens. I think the WBSS has got some serious problems with trying to do 3 weight divisions in 1 year. I think they're going to have to move back to 2 next year. It's just created too much for the top people at the company to have to do, and it's created scenarios where people didn't get paid on time, and we all know what happens with that. And Frank Warren fighters, if you don't get paid on time, you leave and go to another promoter. So hopefully they sort it out. Hopefully the fight goes ahead, and it's such a good fight. Josh Taylor, it's a good step up for him. He should beat Berichek, but the bigger fights in the tournament are what people are hoping for. We know that Progra versus Taylor is the likely final by the bookies' odds, but that's a major fight, and I'd hate for us to not see that because of some problems with finances in the tournament or something. That would be really stupid.
As you know, the problem with boxing is, and this Super Series, it's mal-engined, isn't it? It was doomed from the start, really. The whole tournament process.
I think the tournaments are always a weird one in boxing. I think that's for certain. I think the first 2 worked very well. Obviously, you had the injury with Groves, but at least it was finished. We know who the winners were. Obviously, Callum Smith got an easy route to the final, but that can happen in tournaments. That can happen in the World Cup. Yeah, it's not looking good this time round. The fights are late. They're being delayed. People are pulling out of them. Let's hope it all gets patched back together, because I'd hate for it to fall apart. We did get some amazing fights from the cruiserweight division last year, and I think we could get more this year. So let's hope. Let's hope. GGG, he's in a fight. He's in a fight on DAZN. Now this is a bizarre fight. this is a Tyson Fury, Tom Schwartz sort of fight, in my opinion. Who is Steve Rolls?
I can tell you what I do know. He trains out of the Kronk gym in Detroit. I watched a bit of him. He's nothing special. This fight will probably last about 7-8 rounds.
Yeah,
He's not that great.
yeah,
His
yeah.
biggest win was against a guy who Andy Lee beat on one of his comeback fights about 3 years ago.
Keandre Leatherwood?
Yeah, that's
No.
correct.
Oh, right,
He was,
yeah. Uh, basically, yeah, this is even more bizarre than the Tom Schwartz fight, really, because this guy's 34. He's fighting out of Toronto. He's 19-0, but he's faced no one. At least Tom Schwartz has faced a couple of gatekeepers or journeyman heavyweights that you know their names. This Rolls guy, like you say, if it wasn't for a shared opponent in Andy Lee, we wouldn't know any of his opponents. So, bad fight, bad first fight for GGG on DAZN. I don't like these fights. It's such a waste of an event, or waste of an evening. We know who's going to win. It's designed that way, and so I'm happy to see GGG back, and I do think he'll get the winner of Canelo Jacobs. I think that's why he signed to DAZN. But Jesus, man, he could have fought anyone. You know, we look at people like Dillian White, right? He is waiting for a world title shot right now. He's waiting for his big money fight. Yet he's still willing to fight top guys, Chisora, Parker. But whilst he's waiting for his fight, and I don't see any other boxers doing that. Everybody else is quite happy to fight complete easy work, really, and I think it's bad for the sport. Puts people off. It's not an event I'll be watching. I don't know about you. I'll catch the highlights of that, but
probably the highlights, but it's not something
yeah.
I'm excited about.
No, how could anybody get excited for it, really? I mean, the people who will get excited are the people who manage to get cheap tickets to go and see GGG fight. That's about it. That's the only good thing that can be said for it. But other than that, it's pretty fucking piss poor, actually.
Don't know how it will sell. Do you know what I mean? It is a concern, isn't it?
It will do tickets because they'll do them cheap. How will it do in terms of viewer numbers? Whew,
Not
it's
great.
not. It's not going to be bringing in any new subscribers to the
But the
platform.
fight
Let's
is
put
at
it that
super
way.
middleweight. It's
Yep.
150 catch weight at 154 pounds or something. Strange.
No, it can't be 154. That's
No, sorry, 161. What am I on about?
164. Yeah. That's fair enough. Yeah. 164. Maybe GGG is trying to move up to 168 slowly to see if he can get Canelo at that weight. Interesting for sure. Yeah, not a lot to say about that fight. We'll move swiftly on to another easy fight, in my opinion. A better fight for sure, but a similar style of fight, really. Crawford versus Khan. We all know who's going to be winning this one, right? Like, is there anybody picking Khan? I don't think I don't think I've seen one boxing pundit pick Amir for this one.
How is this even a fight? I mean, let's be honest. It'll be over in about 4 rounds if he's lucky.
3 or 4. I think 3 or 4. I think Khan has the skills to beat Crawford if he was absolutely perfect. The fight against Maidana or the fight against Devon Alexander. If that Amir Khan turns up, I mean, but that's 5 years ago now, really. So
No,
he's
it's
not
9 years ago.
Yeah, it's more than it's nearly a decade ago. So that Amir Khan's not turning up, and the Amir Khan that stands there and trades and gets angry is the Amir Khan that gets knocked out. So I think 3 or 4 rounds is a good prediction. I think that's fair to say. He could, if he dances around, he could get knocked out later. But I think he is getting knocked out in this fight for certain.
Problem with Khan is he I don't know. I just laugh whenever he gets a big fight. I just have to laugh. Well, why does he keep getting these big fights?
Because he's a name and he looks good on someone's record. You know, The truth of the matter is, all the British fans want to see is Kell Brook, Amir Khan, even though both guys are probably
Well,
nearly finished. Yeah, exactly. If Amir Khan gets knocked out badly, the Brook fight never happens. If Amir Khan loses on points in a close fight, the Brook fight looks like a good fight still. So let's hope Amir Khan can stay on his feet, but I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it.
the problem with Khan is if he'd had a good chin from the start of his career, he probably wouldn't have lost half the fights he'd lost.
Yes, I think even let's forget the chin. You can have a bad chin. If he hadn't have stood and traded with big punches, he might not have had some of the fight losses he had.
But look at his loss to Vargas, his win against Vargas. That was dreadful.
Yeah, yeah, and some of his other losses, right? So the loss against Danny Garcia, he was comfortably outboxing Danny Garcia and stood in range of the left hook. Why would you do that? Like, I know he got knocked down a lot off Danny Garcia, but he just kept trading with him, and it was so fucking stupid. Like, you can beat Danny Garcia with your footwork and boxing easily. He's a terrible technician. He's got one shot. Don't get hit by it. But he was too fucking stupid to get hit by that left hook. And so I don't feel a lot of sympathy for him because they were fights he could have won. There were fights where
I
if he'd
think
have had the right
Charlie, if
game
he
plan,
gets knocked out again, he needs to think about retirement.
if he gets knocked out heavily, I think he will retire. For sure. I think there's no way you can just keep going into big fights and taking demolishing knockouts and
But
carry on.
I haven't been impressed with his comeback. Have you really? It's been a bit lackluster.
It's been terrible. He fought awful opposition. Who cares? Didn't he beat someone called Phil LaGreco or something?
In 40 seconds, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That was a terrible fight. And then the fight before that wasn't great. Let's put it this way: Amir Khan, he could shock the world and win on points. But I think there would be a rematch, and I think he'd still get knocked out in the rematch. So there just isn't a lot of hope for him left at this level. He really should have fought Brook because that is a 50-50 fight, even at this point, because both guys are so diminished.
I just think really now he should have retired when he lost to Canelo. I have to be honest, he should have stayed away.
Yeah, yeah, probably, but he's probably making some good money from fighting Terence Crawford. So
Yeah, that's it. That's him cashing out. That's the end.
probably, more than likely, that's been my prediction as well. So I had one last topic I wanted to cover. It's an amusing one. I can never pronounce the guy's name, but Anthony Yard's trainer, Ajayi, he's nuts, isn't he? He's lost the fucking he's lost his marbles, isn't he?
Tunde Ajayi.
Tunde Ajayi, yeah, that's his name. He's
God.
absolutely lost his fucking marbles. Like, he's saying that he's saying Andre Ward doesn't have the skill set of Anthony Yard. What are your thoughts on that?
I think he's talking out of his backstory, and he needs to shut up. Every time that man speaks, he offends me.
Apart from stating seasoned world champion Sergey Kovalev gasses out in 4 rounds, he doesn't. Also, Yard said that Yard has a better skill set than Andre Ward. I mean, that's just crazy. It's wrong on every single level. He's going to get his guy hurt, isn't he?
I think so, yeah. But some crazy Russian did offer him 4.2 million, apparently.
Right. Carl Frampton was speaking about this on Joe. There's a YouTube channel called Joe.
I've seen that.
Yeah, and he said it's getting really embarrassing now. Yard himself must cringe listening to that nonsense. I hope so, but Yard seems like he's the kind of guy who listens to the people around him a bit too much, actually. And he's got yes men in his camp. They always talk about lions in the camp. I think they've got a bunch of liars in their camp, man.
I think Tunde Ajayi, have you heard him speak? He sounds like a little kid in a playground. You know,
I've heard him speak. Yeah.
He's cringe. It's cringe worthy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
There's there was one or two news things to cover very quickly. I think if we got 5 minutes with it.
We do. Let's go for it.
Trying to think what there was. God, what was there? I had to laugh at the Manuel Char thing.
Yes, that is amusing. Manuel Char putting himself forward for the fight. So apparently, he's claiming that he's the most worthy opponent for Anthony Joshua. On top of that, he's also claiming that Eddie Hearn contacted him to talk about the fight, and Eddie Hearn immediately said, "No, you contacted me." So Manuel Char texted Eddie Hearn asking if the fight's available, and then he put out on his social media that he's in talks for the AJ fight, which isn't true. He just texted Eddie Hearn. Like, that's not the same thing. So that's all very amusing. And then, of course, we didn't actually cover, and we should
Lucas
go back
Browne.
to this.
Should we talk about the
Yes,
Lucas Browne
yes.
fight very quickly?
Yes, Lucas Browne versus Dave Allen. Now,
there's a couple of fights on the card, but we ain't got time to talk about them, really. We can mention them in passing.
We do. Yes,
Chisora against Gashi is a good fight.
It's a good fight, but it's a terrible fight for Chisora because Gashi's good, and I don't think Chisora is going to be up for it as much.
I think he'll win.
I don't know, man. Do you remember when he went and fought?
Ajit Kabile.
Ajit Kabile. That's the kind of fight I'm thinking it's going to be. Sadly.
No, I think he'll win. He'll get the win. He'll just.
I hope he does. I hope he does. Obviously, Josh Kelly is in a good fight against Przemysław Runowski, 24-year-old Polish guy. Not really beating anyone of name, but he's 17-0. So could be a good fight. Conor Benn coming back against Joseph Zaradinek, 10-2.
8 rounds, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, 10-2. He doesn't look terrible, but he lost on a unanimous decision to Jason Easton, and you'd expect Conor Benn could deal with him, but then Conor Benn struggled against Paynard, so.
He did. Yeah.
We don't really know. Obviously, Joe Cordina versus Andy Townend is probably the second best fight of the night, in my opinion. Joe Cordina, we know about stepping up. Andy Townend, we know about good British level opposition. If Joe Cordina wins this, I'd fast track him into the European level fights. But yeah, it's good to see him stepping up. It's for the British lightweight title, so that's good too. Of course, the real fight everyone cares about, David Allen, Lucas Browne. I have David Allen splattering Lucas Browne in about the 3rd or 4th round knockout.
I have to be honest, you're not going to like what I'm going to say. I think it's going to go to points, and I'm going to give it a split decision to Lucas Browne, but only just. I think this is going to be such
Did you watch Lucas Browne's fight against Sokolowski?
No, I did, yeah. But
I can't. How's he going to beat David Allen on points when he can't beat Sokolowski?
I think it depends which Dave Allen turns up. If Dave Allen turns up like we know he's capable, he should knock him out. He should win. He should win it. But I hope he turns it on this case. This is his chance to finally do it. You understand? This is his big chance.
It's his only chance. If he loses this, he's back to fighting. He's back to fighting people like Nick Webb and stuff like that. So, yeah, he's going to be right down there fighting the likes.
Even if he looks bad and wins on points, it doesn't matter as long as he gets the win.
I hear you. I think he's going to get the win. I think it's too much riding on it. They seem very friendly in all the press so far, but I think it's going to get nasty in there as soon as the fight starts.
To be honest, Dave would blast out Kamil Solokowski, I believe.
Yes. I think so, and I think Lucas Browne's old,
He's
slow.
got power though. Don't worry, he's got that.
He has power, but so does Luis Ortiz, and so does Dillian White, and David Allen hung with. They've got a lot more power, and David Allen didn't look too bothered by what they had at the start of the fight.
I
So
think Dave is a vastly improved fighter in the last couple of years. He's not the same guy that fought Luis
yeah,
Ortiz.
I agree, but you don't lose the you don't lose the chin, and I think he's fitter. He looks in great shape. I tell you what, though, he's probably very, very near cruiserweight limit right now.
Yeah,
I would
he
be
needs to
very
move his head. He needs to move his head in this fight. There's no doubt about it.
Yes, I agree. But I think what's interesting is I want to see what he weighs in at, because if he weighs in very close to cruiserweight, then I think he's got to seriously consider trying to fight at cruiserweight, because it's gonna earn him a similar amount of money, because he's not looking at the Wilder, AJ, or Fury fights anytime soon. And so he could be probably a higher level cruiserweight than he can a heavyweight. I think
Wouldn't he be better off doing that then? I mean, I'm surprised he's never even considered it.
it's the money, it's the potential money. If you do get the AJ fight or the Wilder fight, you can be so much richer than if you get the top fight at cruiserweight.
Maybe he should try and win the British title at cruiserweight or something. Just give it a try, have a couple of fights and see how he gets on.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree, man. I agree.
What sort of money would he be getting for this fight? 30, 40 grand, 50 grand?
No way, way more. The headline bill of a Sky Sports
I'm being
show.
honest, because I wouldn't hazard a guess.
No, it's a lot more. It's at least six figures. So I would expect it to be 200. Yeah, about that. And if it does, he's probably got some sort of residual. So if they sell out all the tickets, he probably gets a bonus. If it does over a certain amount of viewers on Sky, he probably gets a bonus. So actually, when you're the headline act of a show, you do get paid all right for a Saturday night fight.
But Chisora would probably get about 50 grand.
No, to fight for a European title, probably about 100, 150. Eddie Hearn's saying he's losing money on this show. So
that's crazy.
It's how boxing works sometimes. If you look at all of the people he's got on the show, so Cordina, Conor Benn, all of the young talents, you have to pay them well to be boxing for your stable.
Do you think that? I mean, obviously Dave Allen is the headline actor of this card. Chisora did mutter about it; he wasn't too happy about it. But more people. Dave Allen's more popular.
I think Dave Allen, if Chisora was fighting in a world title fight, he should be the headline.
But the winner of this fight was the winner of Lucas Browne, Dave Allen. Apparently, the winner will fight David Price.
So how that works is, if Lucas Browne wins, he's already contractually guaranteed the Price fight. If David Allen wins, he's not guaranteed the Price fight, but they're going to push for it very hard. So
but David Price wouldn't beat Dave Allen at all. We know that for a fact.
No, but he's still a name, and he's had 2 wins back to back. Bizarre.
Against very low opposition, yeah.
Yeah, but it's still that sort of British come-up level. I think David Price isn't a bad fight for David Allen. It's still a big name fight, and I think that's what they're looking for. I think his list of people to fight was actually very good. So he said he wanted Price, then Chisora, then someone like Pulev or Ortiz again, someone like that. I think Pulev's old and slow, and David Allen could knock him out, but he could also lose on points easily.
We need to be honest about Dave Allen. His ceiling isn't much higher than a British title, or possibly European. I don't think we can go much higher. It
depends on the way stuff happens. Charles Martin's ceiling shouldn't be the world title, but he won a world title. So it all depends on the right moments, the right circumstances. I think Dave Allen versus Manuel Charr is a winnable fight. And then you've got David Allen as a world champion. So it all depends. It all depends on who's around, who's still fighting. when he gets to that point. Of course,
He has
before
he
all of
has a
that,
chance on Saturday to change his life forever. How he does it is up to him.
yeah, yeah. I hope he does it. I hope he does it. Right, man.
I'll
Anyway,
be
I'll be watching it for sure. It's a big fight in my eyes. I've got to go and get ready and do some stuff today, man. So I will have to leave it there. But we will
okay.
come back and discuss the fight after it's happened. And
We'll be
I
back in a week
wish,
and a half or something, or a week or whatever.
yeah, that sounds perfect, man. Catch you
Yeah.
soon.
Thanks very much.
Peace,
Bye.
peace out, everyone.